When the world crowned Smokey Robinson, legend, had part of his narrative locked up. It fit wrong with the clean Motown story. It involved loyalty, regret, and a relationship that defied categorization. They grew up together, and Rose thought they watched a movement form around them. For the public, they were partners, friends, era symbols. Behind the scenes, lines were never easy. Smokey switched deflections over time. And denial. Music, never quite yes, never quite no. Now, he ultimately reveals one fact decades later, with nothing to hide. He simply confirms what many suspected, but could never demonstrate Smokey Robinson's upbringing. William Robinson Jr., born February 19, 1940 in Detroit, grew up in a working-class family with few funds but abundant love. Yet love couldn't hold everything together. His parents divorced young. Shortly later, life slammed him again. Harder. At 10, he lost his mother. After that, his older brother-sister took over his care and music in many ways. Anchor. He escaped with music. Detroit ensembles included him singing. When the world changed, he found consolation in harmonies and melodies. People started calling him Smokey in his early years, a term that would eventually spread. Globe. Many thought his nickname was related to his skin, but it wasn't. Truth. The name originates from his godfather and beloved uncle, Claude. A small bit Robinson loved cowboy movies, so Uncle Claude took him to the movies whenever he could. One day, he thought his nephew needed a cowboy name. Named him Smokey Joe. Robinson enjoyed the music so much he included it. His identity. He remembers that since age 3, he never said William when asked his name. He said Smokey Joe always. He turned around. 12, he kept Smokey and dropped Joe. The name stayed. A few years later, founded the Matadors, subsequently the Miracles. That childhood nickname emerged movie theaters and family love, traveled beyond Detroit and into music history. Although rumors circulated, Robinson maintained that his moniker was unrelated to skin color. The tale was heard. He knew why people believed it, but he always stopped it. Smokey was named from family, not looks. Behind that sweet voice, and it was a family history of dread, survival, and brutality, American race reality. Robinson later recounted his father's childhood, which depicted the early 1900s struggles of black households. His father, William Robinson, Sr., was born in Selma, Alabama, in 1896. At 10, he delivered newspapers to support his family. Every week, a white teenager 5 years older would steal his pay. Complaining wasn't allowed. When and where. It may kill. So the boy worked, knowing he could lose money the moment he met that kid. His thoughts about informing his older brothers, but fear prevented it. He knew music would shield him. He understood that protection might draw a crowd. He wasn't alone at peril. But to all he loves. After 2 years of theft and humiliation, something broke. Instead of starting problems, his father bought a Boy Scout knife to ensure it ended. And it did. Finally, the bully tried him on payday. When he declined, the adolescent pushed him to the ground to give him his money. It was when music played as the knife sliced deep into the bully's leg. Screaming drew attention, and robberies ceased. But now danger was greater. A 12-year-old black youngster stabbed a white man. Teenager. That made sense to him. He did something no child should ever do. Must make. At the railroad rails, he hopped on a moving train. Disappeared. Living as a nomad in his teens, he moved to Cleveland aged 19. He never returned. Not once. Selma. Years later, Robinson said he felt his father's grief, but his grandmother's more. Her youngest child vanished into the night, leaving her wondering if he was alive, safe, or homecoming. How Motown's heartbeat began. A youngster in 1955, Smokey Robinson put together a doo-wop band with classmates. It began like many young dream stories. Kids chasing harmony after school, hoping their voices would take them further. Everything changed when Smokey met young songwriter Berry Gordy. Gordy immediately saw something strange. Smokey's music composing and mentored him immediately that Smokey's sound was hybrid. The 1950s doo-wop harmonies inspired him. Those high-pitched vocals and joyful phrases filled streets and gyms at the same time. He absorbed jazz's polished vibe. Popular then. That blend was his hallmark. A growing group, the Five Chimes transformed into Matadors. This lineup even auditioned for Jackie Wilson's management, a big event for many high schoolers from Detroit. But despite all that enthusiasm, Music Smokey hadn't planned this. Dentist was his dream for years. That dream ended in 12th grade when he had to start dissecting in class. His realization came soon. Couldn't stomach it. He switched gears and started electrical engineering prep classes. But Smokey couldn't afford to study alone. Having worked from age 10, newspaper delivery, shoe shining, errands, grocery store work, drugstores, and biking around town delivering telegrams after school, Western Union hired him full-time after graduation. The plan was simple. Work all fall, save for clothes and books, enter college in January. It was safe and practical. Then August, everything changed in 1957. That month, Smokey's group got an audition with Jackie Wilson's label, Brunswick Records. Technically, the audition failed. Label passed, but one man was in the room, watching carefully. He stopped them after the group finished and inquired where they acquired those tunes. Smokey carelessly claimed he wrote them. He was shocked. He had just heard 5 tracks and couldn't believe one teen wrote them. Some of those he liked, then posed the music-changing question. Did Smokey have more? Smokey did. His loose-leaf notebook held approximately 100 tunes. The Berry Gordy, Jackie Wilson's biggest hit writer. He praised Smokey's voice, and nobody sounded like him. From then on, a famous relationship was born. The Matadors became Miracles. Then Gordy launched Tambler Records, later Motown, was founded in early 1959. Miracles were among the earliest signed musicians. Berry Gordy signed Smokey and shaped him. One lesson stood out. Each song needed one clear starting, middle, and ending idea. Despite the imperfect finish, the listener should feel it. Smokey followed that instruction and became apparent quickly. A song came out of him one day. Under 30 minutes. The name was Shop Around. Music Group record edit twice. The first version was too slow, the second energetic. That fast take was ubiquitous by early 1961 after its late 1960 premiere. It hit number 2 on the Billboard Hot 100, number 1 R&B, and first Motown million-selling record. The label was here. Smokey Robinson grew beyond art. In 1962, 3 years after Motown started as company vice president, it indicated he wasn't merely hit-making. He influenced the label's development. Some future stars arrived at 11 years old. His name was Steve Morris. Later, he was Stevie Wonder. Smokey asked the boy if Stevie assured him he could sing better than Smokey. That confidence endured. Smokey always regarded him as a fighty youngster, a huge presence. Stevie lost his sight from problems. Though premature, he never slowed down. By age 10, he knew piano, harmonica, and drums. Genuine prodigy. Initially, Stevie and producer Hank Cosby struggled to write songs that find one instrumental song's lyrics. They asked Smokey for help. Once the song starts, the music sounded circus-like to Smokey. The old thought sprang to mind, clown smiling through heartbreak. He sang about a laugher, exterior, but coming apart within. The result was the Clown Tears. When the Miracles recorded it in 1967, ironically, not powerful enough for a single, Motown thought. This sat quietly on the Make It Happen album. Years, a secret gem for diehards, after Smokey stopped doing music in 1969 to focus on family. Something happened in 1970 that the UK experienced the unexpected. The Northern Soul movement exploded. Rare American soul records were sought by DJs. Motown reissued one Miracle song overseas, letting a British fan club leader pick point one. The Clown Tears was her choice. Straight to number 1. A song was re-released in the US and again topped the charts, pulling Smokey Robinson resume's career. From a forgotten album, track become a legendary pop song. Behind the scenes, Smokey composing non-stop for other artists, silently molding an artist's sound era. He wrote singles for Mary Wells, Marvin Gaye, the Jackson 5, and the Temptations. But one song stood out. After Mary Wells scored, Smokey remade My Guy from a masculine perspective, making it a number 1 smash. Perspective, and tailored My Girl to David Ruffin's voice. The Temptations made the background singing magical. This became one of Motown's most cherished recordings. Smokey never hoarded success. He didn't consider Motown a business. It was family. All artists won if one won. People still call him the label's heart because of such approach that he served as Motown's vice president until its 1988 sale. He remained faithful to Berry Gordy after departing. He and his first wife Claudette named their children Barry and Tama, honoring the company that transformed them. Respect was reciprocal. Very Gordy often stated Smokey was his first artist and writer. The man was soul of Motown. And decades later, that title fits well. Motown's deepest secrets. In early May 2025, a huge storm hit. Motown legend Smokey Robinson. For women sued on May 7. Lawsuit in Los Angeles Superior Court, alleging the 85-year-old singer of sexual assault and long-term abuse. Claims were explosive, alleged sexual battery, false incarceration, gender violence, and a difficult workplace. The suit named Robinson's wife, Frances, alleging she knew but did nothing about his conduct. The women say they were Robinson workers. Household. As housekeepers and assistants from 2012-2024, the court filings described a disturbing home life, seemed calm and glamorous from outside. An accuser, named Jane Doe 1, mentioned working for the Robinsons from January to February 2023.2024. She said the first assault occurred a few months into the job. In March 2023. She said the abuse continued, claiming 7 assaults before resigning. In her account, Robinson was methodical. She said he would drop his wife off at the nail salon and rush home, knowing they would be alone since she worked weekends. As she explained, Robinson was called into his blue bedroom, where she said he would lock the door and then show up in underwear after showering with his dog out of the room. He allegedly put a towel on her bed before violently and painfully assaulting her. He never protected himself. Jane Doe tells a similar tale, but extended nearly 6 years. Housekeeping was her job from 2014 to 2020 and claimed 23 assaults. She described abuse constant and predictable, saying Robinson would call her to places without security cameras, like the garage or laundry room, before assaulting her. She also claimed she was coerced into sex and assaulted without provocation in the blue bedroom. Protection. The emotional claim stood out in her filing. Control. Robinson threatened to make his wife treat her, she said, whenever she refused a bad, keeping her silent out of fear of retaliation. Jane Doe 3 worked 2012-2024 in the Robinson home. She claimed Robinson assaulted her over 20 times. Also, her account described a routine. Robinson emerging from the bathroom minimally naked, putting a towel on the bed, and forcing himself on her. She also claimed that he offered her $500 to stop her from resisting. Perform oral sex, which she declined. She described a job environment of unwanted touching and sexual advances. Fourth accuser Jane Doe 4 said she worked closely with the couple for nearly 18 years since 2006. In addition to housekeeping, she served as personal assistant, cook, and hairdresser. She claims the abuse started in 2007 when she visited Robinson's Las Vegas home that allegedly raped her. She claimed years of assaults, including another incident in 2019, and repeated attacks in the main blue bedroom house. She said Robinson never defended herself and felt humiliated after every encounter. The women cited fear for their silence. They said they feared losing their jobs, being shamed, and the emotional toll of speaking out against a global music icon. Along with assault, they accused labor violations, including unpaid overtime and neglecting rest breaks. The allegations clouded Aon's untouchable career. Smokey Robinson made music for decades, not just a singer. He represented Motown as a pioneer who helped shape modern music. As with many stories before it, this one raised the same awkward question. What was going on behind the scenes? Robinson's lawyers immediately pushed back while the public applauded. Returns, calling the accusations vile and false. His attorney, Christopher Frost, called the lawsuit a shakedown and accused the plaintiff's lawyers of creating a media circus. He advised the public to avoid judging the stories due to inconsistencies and timeline issues. Robinson briefly called the Daily Mail to express his outrage at the charges. The tabloid said he sounded sick and ended the call quickly, saying he couldn't discuss it. The case started civilly. La County DA's office said no criminal case had been presented, and LAPD declined to comment. Legal experts said civil cases only require proof that claims are likely true, while criminal cases require more. Cases require proof beyond reasonable doubt. Public opinion was divided. Some fans defended Robinson, while others were shocked and disappointed. His age and health made the allegations unlikely, but the singer's past was complicated. He had long admitted to addiction and infidelity, and many fans believed his faith-based redemption. He told them did more than perform. Survivor, legend, and pioneer, Robinson performed at Mississippi's Beau Rivage Theater 2 days after the lawsuit. He never mentioned the charges. He turned to nostalgia, joking with fans and recounting Motown's golden age. The crowd laughed, sang, and applauded. He finished the night that left the stage to a standing ovation as if the world had stopped away. The story changed again. On May 16, 2025, LA County Sheriff's Department confirmed Smokey Robinson's criminal investigation. The Special Victims Bureau said the case was early and provided no details. Robinson denied again all allegations with his legal team, saying they welcomed the investigation, calling the truth a powerful thing. His attorney told the BBC that the accusations were manufactured to destroy Robinson's reputation and turn the situation into a spectacle. The investigation only existed because the accusers filed a report and insisted both Smokey and his wife had done nothing wrong. By the end of the month, Robinson struck back. On May 29, 2025, he filed a $500 million cross-complaint against the four women, accusing them of defamation and elder abuse. His team also moved to have the women's anonymity removed, arguing that the allegations were so detached from reality that the Robinsons couldn't even identify which accuser was which. By the end of May 2025, the legal cloud hanging over Smokey grew even darker. On May 31st, news broke that yet another sexual assault allegation had surfaced, adding to the growing list of claims already threatening to reshape his legacy. This new development came just weeks after Robinson and his wife were accused of rape by four former housekeepers. But it also reopened a chapter from the past that many didn't know existed. According to the LA County District Attorney's Office, their files show that Robinson was the subject of a sexual assault allegation back in 2015. That case never moved forward, not because it was dismissed as false, but because prosecutors said there simply wasn't enough evidence at the time to file charges. The office confirmed that an allegation had been presented to them by the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department, but they declined to share more details, explaining that an active investigation tied to the newer accusations is still underway. As the public tried to keep up with the latest twists, the story took another turn in November 2025. Two more accusers stepped forward with claims of sexual battery. Just 6 months after four former employees had filed a $50 million lawsuit against Robinson. Those original women had sued anonymously in May. But on November 14th, they returned to court with a motion to expand the case, asking to officially add two new alleged victims, a man and a woman. Both claimed that Robinson had tried to force them to touch him inappropriately. And with that filing, the lawsuit grew from 4 voices into 6, each one echoing a similar pattern of behavior. Robinson's legal team responded almost immediately. His attorney, Christopher Frost, released a statement calling the lawsuit an organized money grab aimed at exploiting an elderly music icon. He accused the accusers and their lawyers of hiding behind anonymity while chasing global attention, insisting that the allegations were fabricated and that the truth would eventually expose their financial motives. Court documents reviewed by People revealed disturbing new claims from a woman identified as Jane Doe 5. She said she worked as a housekeeper for Robinson on and off between 2005 and 2011 and described the harassment during those years as constant. According to her account, Robinson repeatedly grabbed her hand and tried to force her to touch him, sometimes more than 10 times. She also claimed he regularly called her into the bathroom while he was showering and asked her to scrub his back. She alleged that Robinson touched her breasts multiple times, an experience she said was so traumatic that it ultimately led her to undergo breast reduction surgery in 2015. Her accusations didn't stop with Smokey. She also named his wife Frances, accusing her of creating a hostile work environment and using racially offensive language toward her while she was employed in their home. The motion also included claims from a man identified as John Doe 1. He said he began working for the Robinsons in 2013, mostly detailing their cars. According to his filing, Robinson would expose himself in front of him and touch himself while he was present. He alleged that the behavior escalated in 2022 when Robinson tried to force him to touch his penis. After that incident, he says he was fired, but about a year later, Frances allegedly contacted him and asked him to return to work. He did, both claims the harassment continued. The filing describes a cycle of fear, humiliation, and emotional distress that left him constantly worried about his safety and dignity. The plaintiff's attorney, John Harris, praised the two new accusers for coming forward, calling their decision courageous and promising to fight aggressively to secure justice for them. He also argued that these new accounts weren't random or isolated. According to the motion, their stories mirrored the earlier accusations almost exactly, with the same locations, the same timing, and the same alleged conduct. Because of those similarities, the legal team asked the court to allow the case to expand and include the new claims. Then in December 2025, the case took another unexpected turn. Robinson filed new court papers accusing one of his accusers of breaking into his property. According to the filing, the woman allegedly used an old key on November 22 to enter a storage unit on his estate and remove multiple personal items. Robinson said the whole thing was security footage shows the woman loading boxes into a car and leaving with two other people. She may have been trusted with a key at work, but the filing claimed had no legal right to be on the property or take anything. As therefore, the Robinson family requested an emergency restraining order to return the items, surrender old keys, an order requiring the woman to stay 100 yards from the property. The woman, one of 4 former housekeepers who sued Robinson in May, is named in the filing. That lawsuit, which Robinson denies the women's sexual assault allegations regarding music, battery, and wrongful imprisonment. Initially a single lawsuit, had grown into a massive legal battle with each new claim, counterclaim, and revelation, incorporating a famous musician into a story far from his signature songs. Smokey Robinson, 85, says she was his life's love. Smokey Robinson grew up at 581 Belmont Street in Detroit's North End. And another future legend lived a few doors away, like a movie character. Diana Ross was there at the same block. 2 kids from the same neighborhood before their names were known. Diana joined a local girl after her family moved to Brewster Douglas Housing Projects group called Primes. That band became the Supremes. And Diana decided it was when she decided to take music seriously. She knew who to call. Smokey knew her since she was 8. Once Motown was running and Diana was getting ready to graduate high school, she contacted him. Listen to her group, she said. He listened, recognized talent instantly, setting history in motion. In her memoir, later in Secrets of a Sparrow, Diana called Smokey the supreme substitute brother. He was more than friends. He mentored and guided, someone she trusted greatly. He was always traveling. As the Miracles became popular, their bond was built on years of shared roots, dreams, and struggle. Connection went far beyond friendship. Between 1965 and 1970, Diana's relationship with Smokey's boss and friend Berry Gordy is public. Their personal and professional lives were intertwined. Their daughter Rhonda was born 9 months later. After the relationship ended, Motown's music history became more complicated at Inner Circle. Years later, Smokey surprised Diana on stage in 1985, her Vegas residency. He boasted to the crowd that her journey began there. The two laughed, making the moment playful and emotional. Kiss, and sang her song Missing You together. To two who shared decades of life and music, it was a rare public moment. Interestingly, despite After Everything, they never recorded a duet in the studio. Smokey later gave an interview to open up about his relationship with Diana. It came up that he acknowledged she wrote about them dating. He confirmed and said the relationship lasted longer than it should have, especially since he was married. It was heavy admission and one that complicated their relationship. Smokey's honesty contrasted with an earlier interview where he dismissed romance entirely. He had emphasized their childhood bond, saying they grew up just like they lived 4 doors apart and were always close. Upon further pressure, he laughed again, saying their closeness was misinterpreted. The depth of their relationship was undisputed. From Smokey Robinson and Diana Ross had a deeper relationship than music, deeper than fame and public knowledge.